Michelle Lance and Mary Armstrong, two members who are interested in the question of the homeless in Nashville. Ladies, before we had our break, we were talking about some of the problems of the homeless in Nashville, and I'd like to continue that by looking at some of the families involved in this question. First of all, Ms. Armstrong, perhaps you would like to give us some problems in terms of the disposition of the homeless among families.
Well, first of all, families is the fastest growing population amongst the homeless. I think nationwide right now, by a survey done by the FEMA, which is the Federal Emergency and Management Authority, it's 21 to 22% of people who are on the streets today are families, and they come in all sizes: husband, wife, children, single-head household, even fathers with children, mothers with children. Because the parents are in constant crisis, worrying about how they're going to keep their families together, worried about whether the state's going to take them, they have very little time to attend to the emotional needs of their children. And so the children start to exhibit behaviors that are not socially acceptable. Plus, real small children, we're seeing them suffer from what's called developmental delays and failure to thrive. If a child doesn't have a place where they can get down and crawl around, developmentally they won't learn the things that they need to. That's part of normal development. Homeless children have to be carried all the time, and they can't be noisy like children are. You know, they have to be in public places or in shelters. They can't be normal kids. In our shelter program, we try to focus on the needs of those kids while we're also trying to enable the families. We have a daycare for them, and we get community people to come in and do special things with them. We've had a lot of success in Vanderbuddies. Vanderbilt students get together and they call themselves Vanderbuddies. They come out and take the kids to the movies, play with them, read with them, do arts and crafts. But what they're able to do is to give some special attention to the children while mom and dad are in crisis. Because while they're in crisis, they don't have what they need to give to those kids. And so the kids suffer. They also suffer educationally because they've bounced around. There's no continuity in their education. And we're also seeing a lot of speech delays in kids because they're asked to be quiet so much, and they're not sat down and played little games like if mother and dad were in their own home. They would play those normal games with kids and talk to them. Right now, mom may have 100 things on her mind, and she may not even be aware that her child is sitting there talking to her because she's under so much stress. So that's something that we're diligently working on at the Salvation Army is specialized attention for the children. So they're not going to repeat this pattern. So they're going to have coping mechanisms. So they're going to have the problem-solving skills that they need to not repeat this.
Very good. Michelle, earlier you said that you had personal experiences with being homeless, and perhaps you would like to share some of those experiences with us this evening.
That's how I wound up working with the homeless. Is when I first came to the East Nashville Cooperative Ministry, I came there for a food box and warm clothing. Last Christmas, my daughter had green beans for dinner. We had nothing else. Then we had no place to live. And we were homeless for about a month. We stayed at the YWCA. And I asked if I could give back after the East Nashville Cooperative Ministry helped me and my family. And I've been working there ever since. And
so this is sort of your effort to try to repay
yes.
the help that you were able to get during that short interval of time that you were homeless.
Yes, that's how come I'm so concerned about winter coming, because it happened to me last winter.
And you've got your personal experiences to
yes.
propel you into circulating a petition. I think that there's a question that has often been raised, Ms. Armstrong, relative to the number of people who are homeless. It has been suggested that some people are homeless because they choose to be homeless. Is that correct?
I would refute that emphatically. I think that's totally erroneous. There are folks out there who have tried and gotten nowhere, who have stopped trying and taken up residence along the riverbank, or just accepted that they're not going to get back into this community and have accepted living on the streets as their permanent life. And it's a real battle to break that defeat in them, to give them back the wherewithal to fight in here, because most of the people who are on the streets today don't have the skills to compete in today's labor market. The best they can do is get minimum wage jobs. A minimum wage with just a single person, not even considering the families, you can't get an apartment in this community. It costs, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment in Nashville is $350 a month, not including utilities. If you're on minimum wage and you're lucky enough to get minimum wage for 40 hours, the most you're going to bring home is $100 a week. That doesn't get you rent paid, let alone utilities, or buy food, or get you back and forth to work.
We've got about 2 minutes, Ms. Armstrong, and I'd like to raise a question as to a possible solution. What do you see as a person who has been intimately involved in dealing with the homeless population in this country? What do you see as a possible solution?
First, we're going to have a change in attitude by the general public, understanding that most of the people who are out there today are victims of an economic situation. Even those people who turn their stomachs, the alcoholics, they have to understand that alcoholism is a disease. We only have 14 detox beds for this whole count, 14 county Middle Tennessee region. That's not enough beds. There's over 80 to 90 hardcore alcoholics out there, but no place for them to get treatment. They'll come to me and say, yes, I want to get off the sauce, help me. But it takes me 2 weeks to get them into a program. By that time, they're gone. And we need more detox beds. We need more emergency shelters. And the long and short of it is we need more low-income housing stock, places they can afford to live.
I'm sorry we've run out of time, but we want to thank the two of you for coming by and talking about this very, very important question with us this evening on Black Pulse. And I'm Dr. James Haney, your host. Thank you and good night.